everyone, it's Emma, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this really lovely multicoloured granny square. This is such a fun project and it's a great way to use up any leftover yarn that you might have. I'm using some mini skeins that I've got here. All of this is 4-ply sock yarn and I'm going to be using a 3.5mm hook. I'll pop all the details of the yarn that I'm using in the description box below. You can use any yarn that you like for this pattern, just make sure that you adjust your hook size accordingly. Also, please note that I'm based in the UK and therefore I use UK crochet terminology. For this pattern, you'll need to know how to work a UK treble crochet, and that's equivalent to a US double crochet. To get started, we're going to take our first colour and we're going to make a slip knot. You can do that however you prefer. And we're going to pop that on our hook. And we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to insert our hook into the chain furthest away. We're going to grab that yarn and pull it through, and we're going to pull it through again through that loop on the hook, and now we've created our center circle. And if you just grab that and give it a wiggle there, it opens it up and you should be able to see the hole in the center there. And if you find that tricky, you can always chain 5 or 6 and that will give you a bigger center circle to work into. And of course, if you prefer to, you can use a magic ring. For round 1, we're going to begin by chaining 4, and this counts as our first stitch plus a corner space. And we're going to work our next side by working 3 trebles into that centre circle. So remember that I'm in the UK, so this is equivalent to a US double. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that centre of the circle, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And we've just made our first stitch there. We're going to do that 2 more times. So yarn over, insert your hook into the centre of the circle, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We've got 1 more stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and that completes one side of our first round. What we need to do now is create the corner space, so we're going to chain 2 and then we're going to work our next side by making 3 more treble crochets. So we're going to do 1, 2 and 3. That completes another side, so you should be able to see we've got one side, a corner, and our next side. We need to make our next corner space, so we're going to chain 2 and then we're going to work 3 more trebles. So we've got 1, 2 and 3, and this final side is going to be a little bit different because we've already got a stitch here that we made when we did our chain stitches at the beginning of the round. So we're going to chain 2 to work our corner space as normal, but this time we're only going to work 2 trebles because these chain stitches already count as our first stitch. So we're going to work 1 treble and 2 trebles, and then what we're going to do is, if you look at these chain stitches from the beginning here, we're going to find the 3rd chain, which is this one here, and we're going to insert our hook. Make sure you go underneath both loops of the chain. As you can see, it looks like I've got 2 loops on my hook here, and that just makes it much more secure. We're going to grab that yarn and pull it through, and again to slip stitch that together. And then to finish that off, I like to slip stitch again into the corner space, and it just makes it look very nice and neat. So once you've done that round, you can just snip the yarn and then just pull that through. And then if you give this yarn tail at the back here a bit of a tug, it should cinch it all together and make it look a bit neater. And that's the first round of our square completed. So what I like to do with my granny squares is turn them over after each round, and this just makes everything nice and neat. It also means there's no right or wrong side to the work because both sides will be the same. So we're just going to take that and flip it over, and when we join the next colour, we're going to be working with this wrong side facing us. So I think I'm going to work this pretty peach colour next. So to attach our yarn, we're going to make a slip knot again, and we're going to pop that on our hook. And I like to join my yarn by using standing stitches, and I'm going to show you how to do that now, but I do have another tutorial that explains that in a little bit more depth, so I'll link that on the screen now so you can take a look if you want to. And we're going to join our yarn into any one of these corner spaces, but I do tend to avoid the one where I've just joined the yarn. It just makes it look a bit more neat and even. So to work a standing stitch, it can be a little bit tricky, but we're going to yarn over, and then if you take the index finger on your hand that's holding the hook and just hold on to both of those loops, it keeps it nice and secure and stops them from sliding about. And then we're going to insert our hook into one of the corner spaces, and we're going to grab that yarn and pull through. And then you can use this hand that's holding the yarn to help as well by just holding on to the bottom of that slip knot there. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2, and we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. And what we've done there is worked 1 treble, and if you look at it from the top, you can see it looks just like a normal stitch, and it just makes it look a bit neater, and it makes it easier when you come back to the end of the round when it comes to joining it together. Once we've done that, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work 3 more trebles into this same corner space. Let's do 1, 2, and 3. And to complete this side, we're going to move across to the next corner space here with 3 more trebles. 1, 2, and 3. And then same as we did previously, to get around to this next side, we need to do our corner space. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to work 3 more trebles into this same space. And if you've watched other tutorials on granny squares, you'll notice that there's some variations, and it all comes down to personal preference. This is how I like to work my granny squares, but I'd encourage you to experiment and try some different things to find out what you like the best. Okay, so I've just worked my 3 trebles. To complete this side, we're going to go into this next corner space here, and we're going to work 3 treble crochets and 3. So you can see we've got 1 side and 2 sides. We're going to chain 2 for our corner space and work another 3 trebles into that same corner to bring us around. And then we're going to move across to the next corner space, which is here on the left, with another 3 trebles. And that completes our 3rd side. So to come around to the 4th, we need to do our corner space by chaining 2. We're going to work 3 trebles into the same corner. And our last side is going to end a little bit differently, because this standing stitch that we did here at the very beginning counts obviously as a stitch. So instead of doing 3 trebles here, what we only need to do, 2 stitches. So we're going to work 2 trebles, and then we're going to join into the top of that standing stitch with a slip stitch, and then same as we did before, I just like to slip stitch across into that corner just to make it a bit more neat, and then you can cut your yarn, and that's your second colour attached. And then same as before, we're going to take our work and turn it over, and we're going to work on the opposite side. If you don't do this, you'll find that your square will start to slant across to one side. Okay, let's do this nice pretty pink colour next. And after this, you're basically doing the same thing each round. So I'm just going to show you this one more time. So make a slip knot and pop that on your hook. And again, we're going to start with a standing stitch into any one of the corners. So we're going to yarn over and just hold those loops on our hook securely. We're going to pop our hook into any corner space and yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over and pull through two. We're going to chain two to make the corner, and then we're going to start working our first side. So we'll do another 3 trebles into that same space, 2 and 3, and we've got an extra space now here because we're building on the square and making it bigger each round. So what we're going to do is work another 3 trebles into this middle space here. 1, 2 and 3, and now we're back at the corner. We're going to do 3 trebles into that space, we're going to chain 2 to bring us to the next side, so that's our first side, and we're going to work another 3 trebles into that corner space. Our next space is this middle one here, and we're going to go in there with 3 trebles, and now we've reached our next corner space, so we'll do 3 trebles, and that's our second side, and you should be able to see that it's looking a bit more square-like now. Often just after the first round it can look a little bit more like a circle, but once you begin to add rounds to it, it will begin to look more defined and like a square. We're going to chain 2 to work our corner, and then work another 3 treble crochets into that same space. 2 and 3. Now we've got our middle space here, so we're going to work 3 more trebles. I'd also recommend that you sew in your ends as you go with this one, otherwise you're going to end up with quite a lot at the end. To finish off this third side, we've just got to do our corner, so we're going to work 3 trebles. Oops. Try again. 1, 2 and 3, and that's our third side. For the final side, we just need to come around the corner by chaining 2, work our 3 trebles, our next space is this center space here, so we'll work our 3 treble crochets into there. And now we've reached the final space, but we've already got 1 stitch here from our standing stitch, so we only need to work 2 trebles this time. 1 and 2. And then we're going to join that together with a slip stitch by going into the top of that standing stitch there and pulling it through, and then slip stitching in the corner there to make it nice and neat. And then you can snip the yarn and pull it through. And then remember, for the next round, you just flip that over again and work on the opposite side. So what you would do next is just attach your yarn into any one of these corners with a standing stitch, and then chain 2 before working your 3 trebles into all of these spaces here. And then just remember, in each corner space you'll have 2 lots of 3 trebles, and they'll be separated by your chain 2s, which will form the corners. And then once you've come back all the way around, you'll just do 2 trebles into that final space and then join with a slip stitch. And then you can just continue building that and building it until you reach the size that you want. So I hope you found that tutorial helpful. I would be really grateful if you would like and subscribe if so. And I'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.